Y hola amigos de YouTube y bienvenidos una vez más aquí en nuestro canal en el cual os vamos a enseñar los mejores productos de todos. Bueno, hoy en día ya sabéis que encontrar los mejores productos y que realmente valgan la pena y no estar malgastando el dinero es difícil, ¿no? Porque tenemos infinidad de productos, muchísimas opciones en la cual decidir, luego no tenemos tiempo para estar mirando qué comprar y qué dejar de comprar y queremos que nos haga las cosas fáciles. Así que hoy aquí te voy a solucionar tus problemas con una fuente, este canal, una fuente segura de información. Te vamos a orientar antes de que hagas tu compra. Realmente he hecho esta lista de los mejores productos a partir de hacer varias revisiones literalmente de decenas de productos y me he basado en varios factores como la calidad-precio de los productos, en las valoraciones del fabricante, la marca, la reputación de los productos, etc. Y también le he añadido un poco mi opinión personal, como es lógico, el toque de la casa, ya sabéis, para hacer esta lista. No me enrollo más y quédate hasta el final del vídeo para saber cuáles son la mejor compra que tienes que hacer. Te aseguro que cualquier producto que vayas a elegir de la lista te va a ser una compra totalmente fiable y no te vas a arrepentir. Te aseguro que lo vas a disfrutar muchísimo este producto como el que más y realmente vas a estar muy contento con la compra. Recuerdo, importante antes de empezar el vídeo, recordar que tenéis los enlaces de compra en la descripción por si estáis interesados en mirar el precio, etcétera. Y básicamente recordaos que, mira, si os apetece suscribiros, pues mira, me dais una alegría. Así que empecemos con el vídeo. Y súper importante, si tenéis cualquier duda en los comentarios me lo ponéis y yo en menos de 24 horas os respondo sin ningún problema. Ahora sí, empecemos con el vídeo.
This is the 𝐂𝐀𝐉𝐿 beats. I'm going to give you a quick run through of the sounds and the features. It's got 6 analog parts and 4 PCM parts. This is what it sounds like. Now I'm going to show you a few new features that makes the 𝐂𝐀𝐉𝐿 beats really special. One of them is stutter. It's like a delay and the amount you get is controlled by the depth knob, and the time between the re-triggers is controlled by the time knob. I'm going to start by putting stutter on all the parts and then just on the snare only. I'm also going to use a trick where I press the function button at the same time as turning the time knob, and then the stutters will fall just in time with the sequence. Now I'm going to show you the active step function, which takes steps out of the sequence. And after that I'll show you step jump, which is a function where you can jump to any step in the sequence you like in real time. These are really great performance tools. And finally, I'm going to show you the automation feature. Automation lets you record your controls on the stutter and the PCM speed into the sequence. I'm going to first show you stutter automated and then PCM speed.
Hi, I'm Mike Hosker. I'm a product specialist with 𝐂𝐀 Professional, and I'm showing you today 𝐂𝐀's XR20, the beat production station. XR20 is a drum machine geared towards hip-hop, R&B, and dance, and the first thing you'll notice is the sound set. It was developed by Chronic Music, which are the producers of some of the best-selling sample CDs, the LA Riot sample CDs. And right off the bat, you can hear a really amazing sample set. We have 12 pads that light when you hit them, and when you play back a sequence, each light illuminates as that sample is triggered. We have 12 pads of a drum kit with a different sample on each pad, and then we have a one-shot bank that we can put 12 sounds on as well, and then a synth part for drawing in bass lines and synth leads and things like that. That synth part is mapped chromatically to the pad, so you can play in your notes and play a melody along with your beat. So we have 100 preset patterns, we have 100 user bank patterns that you can create yourself, and you can also customize your drum kits so you're not limited to what the preset drum kits are. There's 650 sounds that Chronic Music is put into the XR20, and we also can go in and customize our drum kits too. We can go in and change the pad volume, we can pan the pad, we can tune the individual pad, and we can filter it as well. We can also apply effects like a reverb. There's another effect where we can put on a master compressor or a compressor that basically affects our overall mix. And that's the drum pattern with the reverb and compressor on as well, so it gives it a little bit more punch. So back in our drum sets, I'm going to go through some of the different drum sounds so you can hear the quality that Chronic Music has put into the XR20. And you basically have a incline and decline button here that allows you to chain patterns, and it'll prompt you which pattern's coming up next by showing you right below what's playing at the moment. So the next pattern will be pattern 56. So we can also trigger our patterns by playing them on the pads themselves by going into pattern play. And while that one's blinking, this one will be finishing, and it will trigger the next one at the end of that one's cycle. And we have an A and B button for each pattern. So you basically have 2 patterns per pattern and a fill for each one of those A and B buttons too. So right now A is playing. I'm going to go ahead and hit B. While that's blinking, now it's in B, which is the variation of the same pattern. So you can set up your choruses and verse drum patterns and also put in fills too. So 𝐂𝐀's XR20 is a pretty complete little drum machine. It's perfect for studio or performance. And having the mic input makes it great to drop lyrics over if you're in the studio and you want to keep everything contained into one nice, neat little package. And the sample set is great thanks to Chronic Music, the 𝐂𝐀 XR20 Beat Production Center.
Hi, Dave Smith here with Grammy winner Roger Lynn. We're showing off our latest creation. This is the Tempest analog drum machine. Small and portable, but heavy duty. An incredibly powerful little instrument.
And actually calling it a drum machine is really understanding its capabilities. When Dave and I started talking about this, the design of this product, we really asked ourselves, what does a drum machine need to be in the year 2011 and beyond? And we really wanted to make something that's a virtuosic instrument for beat-oriented music. And this thing really is wonderful in its ability to, all in real time, compose, manipulate, and arrange beat-oriented music. And we're very excited about it, and we think you will be too.
And when you integrate all of those features with the sound, the analog sound, and when you're not limited to static samples, it just opens up a whole new world of possibilities in a musical instrument, a rhythmic musical instrument. So check it out here. So here's a little more detail on what the instrument entails. We start with the oscillator section, and we have 4 oscillators per voice in this instrument. We have 2 analog oscillators plus a sub-oscillator, and we have 2 digital oscillators. The digital oscillators could be regular old samples, or we even put in the Prophet VS waves just for fun. After that, it goes to the low-pass filter. It's 4-pole, fully resonant. If you've played with our other instruments before, you're familiar with the basic setup there. We have a high-pass filter this time, 2-pole, and audio mod. We have feedback, like in the Tetra and the Mofos, that gives you a lot of extra character per sound, as well as adding a little distortion and just all kinds of flavors involved there. In the main outputs, we have a stereo analog distortion, a stereo analog compressor, individual outs per voice in the back, USB. We have an organic LED, very crisp display, very, very nice to look at and work with. And I'll just go through and play a couple sounds here and turn a few knobs so you can get an idea of what you can get out of the instrument.
Hi, I'm Roger Lynn, and I'm here to tell you a little bit more about the sequencing section of the Tempest drum machine that Dave and I have created. It's really a very interesting machine intended to be a virtuosic instrument for the creation, manipulation, and arrangement of beat-oriented music in real time. And what I mean by that is that you can use these 90 panel controls and this very real-time operating system to do just about everything without ever stopping. Then you can use the pads to trigger 16 different beats so that you can arrange a song in real time. You can record that song, those arrangements into a song in real time, and do all this without stopping. And that's what really makes it a wonderful performance instrument. Even though it excels as an offline instrument, it really is wonderful as a real-time performance instrument. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the specific features. You can load from flash memory into its working memory 16 beats at once, and each one of those beats has 32 different complex analog sounds, which of course can have samples as sound sources as well. But that means you've actually got 512 sounds in memory at once, because each beat has its own unique sounds and all the sound manipulations. There's no kit that's common to different beats. You can load in kits, but you have the ability to have each beat have all of its own parameters in once. That's very, very powerful. very cool. They're arranged as 2x8 instead of 4x4 or 1x16, and it ends up being the ideal compromise between the two. The nice thing about the 2x8 is when you're doing step programming, and the pads are all lit so they animate while you're playing, is that it gives you that nice visual indication of the first 8 16th notes and second 8 16th notes for step programming. Yet it's very, very nice having them next to the front edge for playing. I find it actually much, much better than 4x4. And the other thing you can do with the pads is you can arrange them as, you can assign them as 16 tunings. You select a sound, and you can play them as 16 tunings, and it be major or minor scales or pentatonics or et cetera, et cetera. They can be used as 16 mutes when you're playing back a beat to turn the different sounds on and off. You can use them as 16 fixed velocities. So you can, if you're not very good at dynamic playing, you can use them to be able to create the different velocities that way. On the side here, we've got two very interesting slide controls. They sense both position and pressure where you press, and you can use these, assigning them to almost any sound parameter or beat-wide parameter in the machine, and then all the movements you make can be recorded live. Now, when I say pressure sensitive, that means, for example, this one could be filter frequency for position, but then filter resonance for pressure. And so you're able to do some wonderful manipulations in real time. The signal path is entirely analog, so it's a very pure and very powerful, very punchy sound, using Dave's excellent synth voices, and they're very complex, very, very capable synth voices. But we have a number of effects on there that remain in the analog domain. You've got analog distortion, modeled after guitar amps in a sense. You've got analog compression. You've also got delay in here, but without digital delay, it's done as a MIDI delay. You've also got a stutter effect using the roll button, where you can actually do the same sort of stutter effect that someone would do either with a turntable or by digitally looping a certain part of a beat, but do it all as part of the sequencer so it maintains the analog signal path. The other thing I want to mention is that I've used every single trick I know to get the human feel just right. Everything I learned from the LM1, the Lindrum, the Lin 9000, the MPC 60, the MPC 3000. So it really is excellent and really gets the sound the way you want it on first pass. It doesn't have to be tweaked a lot. It's just set up to sound and feel right. And I'd say, just in quick summary, Tempest is just a wonderful product that we're really very excited about. It's a true musical performance, virtuosic instrument, and we're really, really proud of it.
Muchas gracias de corazón por ver el vídeo y no olvidéis, antes de que os vayáis, atención, que tenéis los enlaces en la descripción y aparte, pues si os suscribís, pues ya os regaláis. Hasta la próxima.